all this heavy work. And I'm privileged and very happy to give some remarks or some thoughts, and I would like to share some experiences of myself, which might be helpful in this wonderful approach to really change things into the final and good direction. First of all, my name is Michael Saalfeld. I'm from Germany. I'm an energy entrepreneur since my very first professional life. I was inspired 1972 as a young adult by a book called Limits to Growth. Club of Rome, 1972, Limits to Growth. This is actually what Father Francis already mentioned. Maybe many of you have the feeling this is kind of new, the emergency and everything, but the real depressing thing is it has impressed me already nearly 50 years ago, and I'm used to listen to politicians in Germany since and all over the world in all their conferences since nearly half a century. The urgency is already there, predicted, and nothing happened. This is also where we now see Greta in your wonderful video, which is really horrible to watch. She is completely right. Nothing happens. There is just words. We can look back to all the conferences internationally, wherever they are, they end with nothing. And so I am convinced personally, the only answer is really, it comes from the roots, from the government, mainly instrumentalized by people who are defending their capital interests. You cannot expect anything in that direction. And that is where we have to act, and that is why I'm very grateful for the Archbishop here to start this initiative, and I will talk a little bit more about it. So the next thing, it's not really a presentation also, it's really just some thoughts, which is we are on a tipping point also in regard of energy, and that is what my expertise is. I cannot say anything to the other things other than there is problem, but for energy I am an expert. And I can tell you we have a very, very crucial tipping point reached, which many people simply don't know, and which is really very, very important to understand. We have a tipping point that nowadays solar power for electricity is by far the cheapest way to generate kilowatt hours. By far the cheapest way. This changes the whole game. It's one part that changes. It's not any more expensive and oh, we have to do it and we have to sacrifice. No, this you would do if you want to save money. This is why Coca-Cola here in the Philippines and all over the world is putting solar panels on their rooftops everywhere, not because they are good and they think of environment. No, they simply want to save money and have the cheapest possible electricity they can achieve. This is changing the game dramatically. The next thing in the same context which changes dramatically and which you just need to think about, I guess you have not ever thought about it like that, but I tell you, from kind of a history, if you describe it a little bit dramatic, we have another situation. The first time ever we have available a technology for everybody. You don't need to be a nuclear physicist or whatever, or a coal generation specialist or engineer. You can simply, in some countries, you go into a Home Depot shop, buy your solar panels, put it on your rooftop yourself, and 25 years at least you have a fantastic electricity generated on this rooftop. This has never ever been able before, and this makes, I mean, imagine would ever anybody be able to have a tiny little coal power plant in his garden or a tiny little nuclear power plant? It was simply not possible. But now everybody can really take solar panels, put it on his rooftop. It's not a complicated technology. It's completely safe. I can tell you it is the cheapest way if you insure energy generation with reinsurance companies, because they have, of course, all over the world long year experience with solar panels, and the cost for insurance is really very, very low, which means this reflects in the other way around. It is really reliable. It doesn't break easy, except for somebody throws stones on it or whatever. So it is available for everybody, it is cheap for everybody, and this is actually an instrument we all have to make people aware of. It is not expensive, it's reliable, and it's available, and we can do it fast. I mean, listening to Bishop Jerry this morning, and of course I know about coal power plants, it takes many years to plan and build up a coal power plant until it really runs. We are talking about 5 to 8 years. In Germany, to say, we had years where we put on rooftops 7,500 megawatt solar power in 1 year for a number of years. Now, I want also to share that in Germany, the whole country peak demand of electricity at all, including car factories and whatever, same time taking electricity. The peak demand is 80,000 megawatt. And we have all over the country on rooftops installed solar panels of 45,000. That is more than half of the country needs. We just need sun at noon, and then half of the country is completely supplied by decentralized on many, many rooftops, solar panels. Actually on 1.6 million rooftops, which means, as Germany has maybe 70 or 80 million rooftops, you don't need each and every rooftop. This is also a very basic and important thing to think about. We have maybe you need 10% or 5% of rooftops, you just need the bigger ones like schools and churches and seminaries, hospitals. There are so many rooftops really with a large size. So we have 1.6 million houses or rooftops in Germany generating more than 45,000 megawatt. Next thing, the Philippines are a country strongly growing, population, economy and everything. Same time, the per capita consumption of electricity is relatively low. So the main problem for the Philippines is the future. Because in the next 20 years, I believe this country needs 3 times the electricity capacity compared to today available. And actually it is also not just a digital decision to say yes or no. We need to see what we have. This is mainly coal in this country at this point. And we cannot say or demand shut it down, and so as good as it would be, and like we do in Germany now, which is very expensive and it's a fight politically, but it is happening. But here in the Philippines we have a situation where we could already change the whole country when we just manage the future additionally capacity mainly based on rooftop solar. That is really possible given what I told you before, and it has to come from the roots. And actually at the end this will not be decided by political goal setting, like we want to have 30% solar or renewable by the year 2050 or whatever. This decision will be made by the market, because the market will decide for the cheapest way of electricity, and that is solar on rooftops. And in the next few years we will see a revolution in storage technology, meaning batteries. We will introduce a very, very cheap and fantastic battery, completely different than everything what was there so far in the next year. So now I come to the end. I'm very, very happy that we in the last week, WeGen as a company, I have to say, for what does it stand? Actually it stands for the We generation. All of us, we are the we, and it is us who will change the future, not them above or politicians or whoever. It is us, and we are able to do so because we now have the instruments. And that is for us the reason for the Catholic Church and WeGen to have a really strong strategic partnership to promote a really renewable, complete electricity supply all over the country. We have now from the 85 dioceses, one of them the military, so not really land and parishes, but we have now 73 agreements with dioceses and with the bishops and with the very engaged clergy to jointly develop this all over the country, from Batanes down to Jensan and Zamboanga. So this will take some years, but now the next step for us will be that we will in each of these dioceses establish WeGen centers which will provide customer kind of sales and support. We will have designers, engineers, installers there. We will create 1,000 jobs in the next 3-4 years to make that happen. And we have this partnership, Bishop Jerry already mentioned a little bit this morning, that we will really concentrate in each diocese to get through all the parishes and from the parish priests with their help to educate all the parishioners about the potential for themselves and same time for the environment. And this is our plan, and so I am very, very encouraged, and that will be the whole part in the tagline here of this, to see you all. I have listened to the discussions. What are you looking for? What do you want to do? And what you will learn now in the next 1 or 2 hours, how to proceed. I can tell you, together with the church and this big commitment, and together with our expertise and our really motivated employees, we will be able to change the country to the better. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr.